Good morning. My name is Andy Gilman, and I'd like to take just a few minutes with you to talk about an idea I had a few years ago. It's called the Ojai Cultural Contribution. And the idea came from actually James Vega, our former city manager. A few years ago in a city council meeting, he said that our nonprofits make up the gap between the needs of our community and what our small city staff can provide. And that resonated with me. I thought a lot about it, and our city has contributed to nonprofits in different ways, but I'd like to see that increase. And so most specifically, tourism is something that does bring quite a lot to our community in the sense of revenue. So this year's proposed budget, the transient occupancy tax, that's sometimes called the hotel tax, is estimated to bring in $6.6 million, and that is about 40% of the revenue that comes into our city. So it's a dramatic portion. I would like to see that tie more directly to the services that our residents receive, because in addition to the benefits that our city receives, the revenue from tourism and the culture that we receive, that some of us do enjoy very much, there is a cost. And the cost to our residents, most dramatically, is traffic. But then secondly, housing prices we see push up against young families being able to live here. So let me put some numbers on the screen to solidify this. As you can see, the TOT at 6.6 million estimate for this year of our total revenue of 16.3 million. And again, that's 40%. And what you're gonna see, here's a couple of instances where the council has contributed to, sometimes it's called community outreach in the budget, but in 2018-19, that amount that the council gave directly to nonprofits, $114,000. In 2021-2022, $236,000. And some of those recipients, the Ojai Valley Museum, Chamber of Commerce, Independence Day Committee, the Arts Commission as part of that amount, the Fire Safe Council, etc. In 2022-2023, that number pulled back to 151,000, and some items that were regularly brought up were now made direct. The museum is an example of that, and I think that's a good idea. In 2023-2024, this fund essentially went away. So it was defunded by 98%, which is almost nothing. The museum and the Arts Commission are separated out, so those are funded. So that accounts for some of that. But in general, the move has been to pull back from this kind of allocation. So what I would like to do is, and bring this to the council and the community to consider, is to take 1/15 of that TOT, that transient occupancy tax, and dedicate it to the Ojai Cultural Contribution. That yields $440,000 each year, so 1/15 of that 6.6 million. Now, what does that mean? Each year, 501c organizations would apply to the city for a grant. They would report quarterly or semi-annually back to the council. They would have a specific liaison within the city that would help them with questions. They would apply first. They would be vetted by the finance committee, which has happened in the past, to certify, yes, they're in good state standing. If they're a past recipient, they have done their reporting correctly. But the kinds of organizations that would apply would be environmental stewards, they would be health and human services, it could be local economy support, such as the farmers market, arts and culture that we experience, all of the things that make our community really wonderful, that keep our beauty here. So each year this would be part of our standard process. There would be the applications, the vetting, then the council would read each one, and some presentations from each of those nonprofits at a council meeting. It would be a wonderful way to have this. And again, it's valuing financially what we very much care about in our community. And these are some of the most important things: education, the arts, the environment, alleviating human suffering. Those are the things that we care about, and that would go directly for our residents' well-being that our tourists would directly pay for. So that is the first part of the Ojai Cultural Contribution. The second part, which is also really fun, would be each new resident in our valley. That would be somebody, let's say, purchasing a home or somebody coming here to rent, would receive a basket. And in that basket would have some donated products by some of Ojai's vendors if they wished, some of the wonderful things that people make. Of course, we all think of agriculture, and that should be in there. But in addition to that, there would be our newspaper, any publications that are produced here in town. So people, when they come to Ojai, they see, oh, there's this breadth of information, of culture, of a really vibrant economy that's here. But then, in addition to that, they would receive this book, the Ojai Valley Illustrated History that you can get at the museum right now. I think if every person knew what came into this valley, how it is the way it is, it would give them an appreciation for the history that's here, the center of downtown that we have that is just not common in cities these days to have a true center that we can all collect in. And then most importantly and most forward would be some kind of vibrant card that would point people to the website, and that website would be the Ojai Cultural Contribution. And on that website would be the nonprofits of our valley listed in some way that would be easily navigated. And it would be, here's how we maintain the environment that you moved here for. Here's how the education works here. Here's the arts and culture. What you see here, why you moved here, doesn't happen by itself. It takes people who can donate, who can volunteer, who can offer their wisdom and experience. So I want to invite those people who do come here, time for you to contribute to what you see here, the beauty that's here, the vibrancy that's here. So I hope those two parts, number one, a stronger donation to our nonprofits in a regular fashioned way, and then number two, a way to inform every new person of all the activity that's here that maintains our valley the way it is. So finally, last point, how are we going to pay for this? As you may know, we have a very nice surplus at the moment. Now, we don't want to squander that in our city's budget, but this seems like one of the most important items that we could spend this on. And we would evaluate it each year, and it'd be part of the budget process. Does it still make sense? Can we still do it at this level? So no guarantees for its continuance, and we would say that to all the nonprofits, but as long as we can do it, even if it's a stretch for us to do it, I hope we will. Please let me know if you have any questions. I welcome your feedback, and thanks for listening.